Hello, Neverwinter. Um, this is going to be a healer build, but before that, I thought I'd include some footage of using the healer. So, this is a slightly messy Advanced Master Dread Sanctum final boss that I did not too long ago uh, on the shield build healer. So, if you've got no interest in this at all, skip ahead to 12 minute 30, and that's where the build actually starts. Otherwise, enjoy the footage. Catch you later. They proc off rejuve potions and stuff like that as well. It's fucking busted, that one. So at this point, we're actually down to 3 players, and that's where it starts. Starts getting a little bit sweatier on the healer. Although technically, I mean, less people to heal, so kind of easier. Mary ain't no quitter, bro. We've got a single DPS left. Valiant effort. Tell you what, they've got a bloody good healer though. Oh fuck, that's a good point. That would be so disappointing. I'm gonna have to put Blade of Anguished Armies on. In fact, I will. I will put Blade of Anguished Armies. Good shout, Disgust. But demo phase a lot easier. I mean, usually its tank goes first. Go tanky, go. Could take a moment to appreciate the outrageous fucking single target heals that Warlock Shielder does these days. Or non-shielder, in fact. Fucking crazy shields. Have some faith. Some faith, please. Discuss. Kill it! Okay, and this was run using my actual trial build, so very much missing a lot of the stats that would come from being in a fully formed trial group. I hope this just gives some idea of how powerful the build is. Big props to the tank and the ranger here, they did absolutely fantastic. Very, very well played. And now let's get into the build. Hello Neverwinter. This may be the moment that you've been waiting for. It may not be. Finally, this is going to be my healer build being released. Now, it's not quite a fully finished healer build. There's one key component missing, and that is the Celestial Helm. And that is why the stats will be slightly jacked up compared to how they should be. Now, this is a heal over time variant of the Warlock healer. Specifically for the Shackle Breaker, no, specifically for the Master Shackles of Divinity trial. Sorry, Shackle Breaker is my DPS build. The main function of the Warlock healer in the trial is to basically just cover for the pally. It's more than possible to complete that dungeon with a single pally, so you're basically there just to take some of the pressure off the pally and the bard. Interesting thing about the Warlock is that we now have, I think, probably the most powerful single target shield in the game, considering that it's just on an at-will. Especially on the shielding spec. The pally might be able to do it with their R1 shield, but they can't do it as quick as we can on our Warlock. Let's have a look. Yeah, there we go. Full bar, practically shield Warlock on an at-will. So that's pretty damn powerful. Obviously that's on the shield spec side. On the hot side, it's still incredibly powerful, as you saw before. Once everything ramps up and kicks in. So, I mean, if you throw one of those on your tank just before a tank buster, jobs are good and right. And it is relatively cheap as well, soul weave wise. But yeah, let's get into the stats. So, stat purists won't be entirely happy with this build because it is slightly undercapped in places, and it's not entirely fully ideal. But like I say, once we get that healer helm in, the celestial helm in, that will bring together the rest of the stats. So we'll be able to cap the severity. The power will cap in the trial because we get 28 up to nearly 30% power if the chicken ore is being run. And then when our pillar of power is up, well, outgoing healing actually goes above 120, yeah, 124%. And then obviously with the new helm, with the new helm, we will get the extra crit stab that we need, extra outgoing healing that we need, and will that put us over on the crit strike? Yeah, we probably would be slightly overcapped on the crit strike. Anyway, we can address that when we come to it. Right, yeah. So there's probably a couple of choices I made here that are going to be contentious to most healers. So, apart from the Celestial Helm, this is the best regeneration helm. I know a lot of people will be favouring, wherever it is, something like this one. So you can gain up to 20% after your heal. And there's obviously different versions of that. I don't think I have them on this tier now. The reason why this one is not as good as this MTOS helm is because you need to lay out a heal in order to get that 20%. So it costs you resource to get resource back. Whereas the MTOS one is just a flat 20% constant. So even if you had one of the other variants of this, which is maybe 25%, it's only 25% for 15 seconds. And you have to heal in order to trigger it. So if you have some downtime at any point, like where you have to jump up the platform, you've got the potential to have a gap in your soul weave. And more importantly, you're forced. It's like you can't save soul weave because you need to spend soul weave to get your regeneration up. Hence why I prefer this one. The difference with the Celestial Helm is that it actually boosts the regen up to 50%. If you get your regen boosted up to 50%, then it is worth throwing out extra heals to get it. So I would certainly favour this one, even though this one it's a pain to get, I know, but it's either this one or the Celestial, basically. Okay, I don't actually think there is a particularly good healer set, to be honest, which is why I'm running the Merrilow. I mean, the Pallies can run something like this detector set because they're going to be hitting enough encounters to make it worthwhile. But as a Warlock, if you're spamming your encounter, you're going to run out of soul weave so quickly that all of this is going to be useless. I mean, you might say that even 1 or 2 stacks is good, but I think it's just not really worth it, to be honest. So we run the debuff set. Obviously, in the trial at least, the main buffer debuffer is going to be the Bard, but the Bard is not very good at proccing these, like this or the Apocalypse, like the crit-based ones. Okay, we've got the Spined Minion in here, and the Twisted Pact. You don't need to run these, but you know, I've got my DPS spec, which is how I had the Twisted Pact. So why not, basically? This whatever that first word is, Band of Dominance, is a good alternative for some extra outgoing healing. There's a pretty decent one from MGR as well. Where is it? That one? No. That one's not too bad either. MDWP. Good bit of forte and outgoing healing. There it is. Lothian Aberrance. So this one comes from MGR. Nice bit of outgoing healing, and you get that 7.5% crit save, which could work as an alternative to the Twisted Pact. Obviously, you lose a lot of crit strike, but you gain quite a significant amount of outgoing healing, so you'll be able to balance things around. I think one of these Dreadbreaker rings is quite good as well. Oh. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I mean, there's scope for different rings, basically. Okay, this is the this is a very nice chest. Obviously, only attainable from the actual Master Trial itself, but that's a lot of stats. That's a lot of stats for a healer. 5% outgoing healing, 5% crit strike, or 9.5% crit strike if you count the ratings, and 7.5% outgoing healing, plus 5% forte. Chest is an absolute beast. Obviously, it's between Warlocks and Bards are the ones who can run this debuff chest piece. It's usually put on the Bard. They tend to have to stay in close to the boss anyway for stuff like buffing the melee DPS. So we basically lump all of the nasty stuff onto the Bard, and then we get to be a bit more powerful. If you are a Warlock healer, you should have this though, in case it comes up at any point. And if you can't get hold of this one, this one's okay. Crit strike gives you some scope to change stuff around. This one's quite good as well. In fact, this one's insanely good because it gives 18% crit severity. It's absolutely off the scale. Right, yeah, and that's the other one. That's actually got probably better ratings. Well, definitely better ratings than that one. But anyway, this build, Celestial chest piece. And Celestial arms. They're kind of spoiling us with the Celestial gear, to be perfectly honest. We get some outrageous amount of stats from all of this. Like 5% outgoing healing just for free, as well as 20% increase in Soul Weave. Absolutely crazy. Now, the reason why we're using the Void Pact, Void Touched, for free, you just get 5% outgoing, overall outgoing healing. And then when you're in combat with a single enemy, you get another 6%. It's absolutely crazy. 11% outgoing healing just from this weapon set, and minus 5% incoming damage. Literally no better weapons for a healer. Or for a Warlock healer at least. Yeah, these new ones aren't any good for the healer side. Obviously the Void Touch are actually relatively difficult to come by. I mean, honourable mention to the Bismuth, I suppose. They don't give you anywhere near the sort of outgoing healing. but they do give you a bit. And they'll give you a bit of extra power as well. But I mean, these ones aren't that easy to come by either. Yeah, these perfect weapons aren't too bad either. But the Void Touched are the best. Yeah, these Solarium aren't too bad in a pinch either. Second part of the Merrilow set. So this is a shirt from the new Master Trial as well. They have gone a bit crazy with the power of these this new gear, to be honest. I mean, I'm not complaining right now, but they do tend to do combat reworks when they think that the power creep's gone too crazy. So this is basically an updated version of a previous shirt. Where is it? Yeah, that one. Vivid Flare Fiber. Obviously with a lot more stats on the new one. And pants as well. Also from the Master Dungeon. And they make a set, so we get the 2% outgoing healing. They really have spoiled us with some of this gear, this mod. God damn it. Yeah, I'm not sure we've even had a version of this one before. Anyway, if you've been running Master, then you'll know that these pants and shirts drop like absolute crazy, so at some point you'll probably pick them up. We're just packing on stats with these. Night Flame Center, I think, has got the most stats of any artifact in the game currently, so useful to have. The Marilith is just a part of the set piece, which gives us that lovely debuff value. Even if 3 out of the or 2 out of the 3 stats is useless. Same with this one. Also, just for stats, even if 2 out of the 3 are useless. There's not all that many healer focused artifacts actually. Yeah, that's not too bad. Power crit stuff. Anyway. Okay, so the reason why I'm wearing these boots is actually quite similar to the reason why I'm wearing the MTOS helm. It's a static value, 10% consistent. So again, well, same as I explained before, the fact that the boots are a static value, even though it's only 10% outside of wild space, it actually stacks with a helm, so you've got a baseline 30% consistent regen boost. Whereas if you have the boots on, okay, you'll get 25% for 15 seconds. If that drops off and you've got nothing to heal, or you don't actually even need, like, if you didn't need to heal, then you'd just be throwing out wasted. You'd just be wasting divinity in order to increase your regen speed. So the heal boots, the celestial heal boots, aren't that good, really. I don't rate them at all. Obviously, with the celestial helm and the recharge speed from that, we could very much take these boots out and maybe input in the tread to the arch thrall for some extra stats if we needed the stats. Like that celestial helm on its own is going to give pretty much all the regen that you need. No, we'll see. We'll see. If and when I actually get it. I've done hundreds of runs so far and not seen that helm at all, unfortunately. Okay, so important one. Dual white dragon glyphs. This is because, in fact, I'm not going to say why this is. If you know, you know. There is a reason to run to. I'm not going to I'm not going to throw that reason out into the ether. But if you know, you know. And obviously the celestial divine ages. When you've got multiple healers running this, we can the shields just stack quite high. I don't think they're supposed to be stacking as high as they are. So buyer beware if you do happen to pick one up. But it's quite useful at the minute, although it may be fixed in the future. This is just stat-wise. For this particular dungeon, as I've said in my other videos, it's all defense. Defense and crit avoid, but mostly defense. So if you stack an awareness, thinking that, hey, awareness is important, in every other dungeon, awareness is important, but it is not important in the Master Shackles of Divinity trial at all. Okay, powers wise, we're using Eldritch Blast because it's fast. I did have a little play around using Dark Helix, and it was interesting. I didn't like it too much though. It didn't give any benefits at least. Although it did allow you to sort of animation cancel, but I don't really know what benefit animation cancelling would have on the healer on Dark Helix. So I switched back to Eldritch Blast. Obviously we want our shield, single target shield. Vampiric Embrace was fixed a while ago. It is now one of the strongest heals in the game. It's also one of the most costly heals in the game as well. If you spam this a lot, you will run out of Divinity very quickly. Soul Weave very quickly. So under... if I was doing like a RAQ or something, I might actually put Blade of Vanquished Armies on, just to help with the DPS a bit. Like throw it ahead on a tank and help cut down those mobs, especially if it's a weaker group. For this trial, we're using Pillar of Power. This has two effects: increases our outgoing healing and damage, and reduces the damage taken. It's quite a powerful little thing, to be honest, if you can actually get people to stand in it. And then Soulstorm as well. So good practice is to pop the pillar inside the Soulstorm, and then the DPS will usually go and stand in it, but even if they don't, they will know that the pillar is inside the Soulstorm, basically, and that's something that you would pop when it's when the hypo comes in. This one is just very clutch sometimes, especially on the shield side actually, because when that thing heals, it'll also shield. It doesn't do it on the hot side, but still quite useful. This is only useful really in a trial situation, but it is very useful in that situation. So basically, as you're being healed by the other healers, you just get boom, 50 Soul Weave. For reference, 50 Soul Weave is a quarter of a Vampiric Embrace, so getting an extra 50 Soul Weave every 10 seconds is actually quite useful. Right, okay. This sounds good in theory, the essence of time, but in action, like in actual play, you are not likely to go 3 seconds without doing something which is interfering with your soul weave, and you don't really want to have to rely on not healing because sometimes you need to heal, right? So we go with Essence of Power. It's a no-brainer. All you gotta do is tap the boss, and you're gonna need to tap the boss to prop the Merrilow anyway, so that's what we go for. Yeah, this one's incredibly clutch. If you burn out your entire soul weave stack, you can get a little boost in your regen. You see, I never really got the hang of this one. I think basically only really useful if you're R1 healing, and it's not really. It's almost like that class mechanic's redundant these days. Oh yeah, this is one of the most ridiculous bloody. You gain you gain 10% more damage when your Soul Weaver's full. Oh my god, yeah. Um, yeah, unless you're going for a DPS healer, which I have done in the past, back when the Band of Air was quite strong. But yeah, you're definitely going to go Soul Theft there. I might bring that back actually, DPS healer. It's been a long time. Yeah, this one's very clutch. And the final one is just choosing between hot or shield. Oh, important thing to remember as well with these hots, all these various hots stack. So if you were happening to run Vampiric, Soulstorm, and Revitalize, you could stick 3 different hots on basically. It's a very handy little thing. Um, these are just the same boons as the DPS spec basically. Blessed Advantage, Blessed Resilience, particularly important. Gives you an extra hot. Well, applies an extra hot. You can get a lot of stacking hots going on. Just anything for your stats here. I go for movement speed here because, you know, you're a healer, you shouldn't really be dying. And that is on the wrong thing. That should be on defense. Companion wise, power, outgoing healing basically. A little bit of crit save. Your enhancement is probably going to come down to whatever the Q former decides, but generally dulled senses on a Warlock. Due to us being able to constantly hit the boss, basically. This is just hot no companion gear. I think that, yeah, that one's from the space one. What was it called? Moon Vokoth. And we just got the Portobello Da Vinci on here in case. Well, I mean, Q leader will decide, but Portobello Da Vinci is usually a good one to have if you can save up the tokens for it. Yeah, generally it's the utility comps that don't do a lot of damage that go onto the healers, and same with the tanks. And then the utility comps that do damage usually go to the DPS. So basically, here we're trying to stack as many useful things as we can. I don't know if it's actually worth running that second Mender's Covenant, really. Might be better off with Allies Resilience. But Shepherd's Devotion's quite useful. Gives your teammates a bit of a boost to defense and speed. This is just good for us for healing and forte. And this isn't 100% useful, but since we're saving our dailies for hypos, kind of is useful, because we're going to be having our dailies full until the hypo. And obviously it'll be Keely deciding what debuff mount you run as well. Red Dragon is a useful one. It was only available at Jubilee a few years ago. Eclipse Lion, Swarm, Pegasus, Panther, Brain Dragon. Yeah, they're all good shouts. And then whatever aura the leader decides as well. Usually it'll be Runic or Mystic. Sometimes Pack Tactics. If you happen to have the new Chicken aura, they'll probably want you to run that as well. But right, yeah. So there we go. That is the healer. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you like a lot of videos, please subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment if you've got any questions. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.